Today we're going to review the phases of the gait cycle using Ranchos Los Amigos terminology. In review, one gait cycle equals the time from the initial contact of one leg until that same leg strikes the ground again. For the purposes of our video today, our left leg will be our reference leg. Our stance phase represents 60% of the gait cycle and is defined as the time that the left leg is in contact with the ground. The subdivisions of stance include initial contact, loading response, mid-stance, terminal stance, and pre-swing. So our swing phase then is defined as time that the left leg or reference leg is not in contact with the ground. It represents 40% of our gait cycle. Subdivisions of our swing phase include initial swing, mid-swing, and terminal swing. Let's look at these subdivisions in more detail. As we discuss our subdivisions of stance and swing, please keep in mind gait is a very fluid activity. Percentages assigned to each component of gait are approximations. So stance is broken down into 5 components: initial contact, loading response, mid-stance, terminal stance, and pre-swing. Let's look at these one at a time. Initial contact begins when any portion of the foot contacts the ground. In normal gait, this is typically the heel first. As our foot transitions to flat, we refer to this as loading response. During this phase, the body is responding to the reaction forces from the ground from initial contact. As the center of mass of our body translates forward over the foot, we refer to this as mid-stance. By this point, we've completed about 30% of our gait cycle. As the body continues moving forward and the foot prepares to leave the ground, we refer to this as terminal stance. By the end of terminal stance, half of our gait cycle is complete. Pre-swing is defined as the phase of gait just prior to our foot breaking contact with the ground. It represents the last component of our stance phase. At this point, our gait cycle is 60% complete. So let's review our components of stance phase. We have initial contact, followed by our loading response, mid-stance, terminal stance, and finally pre-swing. Now let's break down our swing phase. Our swing phase is equally divided into 3 different components: initial swing, mid-swing, and terminal swing. Let's look at these one at a time. Initial swing is our period when the foot has just broken contact with the ground. It represents our initial 1/3 of the swing phase. Our mid-swing phase is characterized by a period as our tibia reaches perpendicular with the floor. At this point, our gait cycle is almost complete. Terminal swing represents the last component of the swing phase and completes the gait cycle. Terminal swing ends when our foot makes contact with the ground again. So let's follow our reference leg as it moves through its 3 components of swing. We have initial swing, followed by mid-swing, ending in terminal swing. Having a thorough knowledge of each of these components of gait is essential if you're going to make accurate observations regarding gait. As you can see, following gait at normal speed can be quite the challenge. So to review our subdivisions of gait, in stance phase we have initial contact, loading response, mid-stance, terminal stance, and pre-swing. The swing phase is broken down into initial swing, mid-swing, and terminal swing.